Hey, this is Walt from StogieReview.com here with another short ashes video cigar review. And up this week I have another cigar we've covered in the past. Coincidentally, it's another one that Brian's done. Only this one wasn't done last week. It was done back actually the end of August. And it's another cigar that we picked up at the IPCPR trade show or convention down in New Orleans. And this is the El Titan de Bronze Redemption Maduro. Now, I'm not going to give you much information on this stick because I really don't know a whole lot. If you do want more information, we did an interview with Willie Herrera from El Titan de Bronze during the convention, and I'll make sure to link that in this this bit of a review, and you can go back and look at the interview for additional information on the line. The information I'm going to give you, this has a Mexican San Andreas wrapper. This is a Robusto. It's a 5x50 Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan filler, and has an MSRP that ranges from $6.50 to $9. And just glancing at Brian's review, it looks like he's assessing the Maduro at about $7. I'm guessing the $6.50 is probably for a Corona, but I'm not quite sure what sizes are available and whatnot. You'll have to take a look at the video, and maybe Willie mentions that. So let's get started. I want to try to keep this video flowing and relatively short in comparison to my 18-minute short ashes video last time. So just going ahead and giving it a pinch. It feels uniformly packed. I did notice two soft spots. There's a bit of a hollow spot right below the secondary band, and there's another one practically in between the two bands. Aside from that, I'm not feeling anything that's kind of throwing up any flags. Not that these soft spots necessarily mean anything. A lot of times they really don't. They don't cause any problems with the cigar. Sometimes you may see a little bit of a flowering effect to the ash, but I haven't really noticed anything aside from that. It's just something I like to note, because when you handle a cigar, there's, you know, it feels kind of hollow, and it does draw your attention to it, regardless of whether it actually means anything or it's just a cosmetic thing. But at any rate, feels uniformly packed. The wrapper is kind of rough and rugged. There's quite a bit of color variation up and down the leaf. Most notably around the veins. They're medium sized. They add a little bit of a lumpy texture to the stick. You sort of looks, you know, section wise down the cigar. You can see a little bit of lifting at the seams, but nothing major. I'm not seeing any chips or cracks. Just it just looks kind of rough. And the cap looks relatively small. And what I mean by that is it appears as though it's kind of small and then it's applied to the top of the cigar. There isn't a whole lot of overlap down the shoulder. So even a shallow cut is going to take most of this cap off, and it may result in the rest of it just peeling off because it is lifting a little bit. It does appear to be triple cap. I can see a number of seams, you know, at the head. So, you know, with all that looked at, it's got about a medium aroma. It's kind of pleasant. I can't really pick out what the smell is, but it's pleasant nonetheless. Pretty light draw, is nice and free. Just a touch of resistance to it. It may be a little loose once I get the cigar going, but right now I kind of like it. I've had a string of cigars that were a bit tight, and just it really dampens, you know, the whole experience when I feel like I've got to fight to get any kind of smoke out of the cigar. And now, as I mentioned, this cigar came from Willie Herrera from El Titan de Bronze. Picked these up at IPCPR. I brought home one. I think I smoked two while I was down there. And I'm just pairing this up with water. Nothing fancy to go with it. Alright, cigar's lit. Got a little bit of punch through the sinuses already, first puff. Looks like it's burning evenly, so I'm going to take my first break. I'll be back in just a second. We'll take a look at the first third, and we'll see how the El Titan de Bronze Redemption Maduro goes. Alright, well, I'm back, and it's about time to take a look at the first third of the El Titan de Bronze Redemption Maduro. And as you can see, I've got a little bit of flowering going on. A little ugly. Burn line is a little on the wavy side. It's thin, but a little, you know, wonky. Strength of the ash is pretty good. It takes a firm tap to knock it off the end. The ash itself seems pretty powdery on the interior, kind of coarse and flaky on the outside. The smoke volume is excellent. I'm getting lots of very dense, thick smoke, easy to get through the sinuses. What I thought was going to be a very loose draw, it actually isn't bad at all. There's just a little bit of resistance. I'm getting mouthfuls of smoke. I don't feel like I'm getting too much air or too much smoke with each pull. So all in all, it's doing well in the burning department, with the exception of the burn line being a little wavy. In terms of body, I think it's about medium. There's a little bit of mouthfeel, but nothing out of, I don't know, average, I guess, which is why I'm saying medium. In terms of finish, it's a little spicy. It's got a bit of an edge, especially through the sinuses. The smoke itself has a bit of an aggressive quality. I can feel it, you know, a tingly sensation across the palate, and especially at the back of the throat as I retrohale the smoke, bring it back and flush it out through the nose. In the flavor department, I'm still kind of waiting. The flavor just seems a little watered down. I'm getting a nice spicy flavor, or spicy component, and I'm getting a little bit of a sweet flavor and a little bit of a chocolate flavor, but especially the chocolate flavor seems really kind of watered down, and it hasn't quite popped yet. And I really do expect some kind of a pop with the flavor because of the wrapper. However, I don't know whether it's just this type of wrapper or what. This seems to be extraordinarily popular at the moment. Everyone seems to be using some type of San Andreas Mexican wrapper on a variety, or one of their varieties of cigars. I think one of the nubs, I'm not sure whether the nub uses a Mexican wrapper or not. The Cubao Maduro, this El Titan de Bronze Redemption Maduro, and I'm sure there are 2 or 3 other ones at the show that I remember seeing with this new San Andreas Mexican Maduro wrapper on it. But I smoked the Cubao Maduro right before I lit up this cigar, and that seemed, I don't know, a little watered down in the flavor department too. So I don't know whether it's just a component of this wrapper or what the case may be, but I'm still waiting for something to come alive in the flavor department. It's not bad. It's just not popping and grabbing my attention just yet. So I'm gonna give it a little bit more time, and we'll see how it goes. So sit tight. I'll be right back. All right. Well, it's about time to take a look at the second third of my El Titan de Bronze Redemption Maduro. And as you can see, the burn line's still a little uneven, relatively thin for the most part. The ash is still flowering a little bit. I just knocked a little bit of an ash off, and I had just a little bit more of that pulling away, that flowering appearance. The draw is excellent. A little bit of resistance, but I'm getting tons of smoke. Very dense, easy to get through the sinuses, nice and flavorful. You know, it doesn't take much work to get that mouthful of smoke. Just a light pull is enough, and you know, it just provides tons of smoke. The smoke itself is getting a little thicker, or at least the texture on the walls of the mouth and whatnot is getting thicker. It's not enough to push it beyond what I'm still classifying as medium body. It's still a little aggressive. You know, I get that little tingling sensation across the palate, back of the throat. A very crisp, clean sensation through the sinuses. No real lingering aromas. The flavor department still has me kind of wondering a little bit. you know, the flavors are there. It's just the cigar doesn't seem to be firing on all cylinders. There's just it seems to be missing a little something. You know, there's that chocolate flavor has transitioned to more of a almost like a dry cocoa powder sort of flavor. There's still some sweetness there. It's becoming a little more pronounced, and you know, I'm tasting a lot of the just you know, the generic Maduro-esque flavors are starting to come out, but I don't know. It just seems like they're not coming alive just yet. They're definitely there, but I'm waiting for the cigar to pop and things to become lively. At this point, it's still kind of laid back, very easygoing, and I don't know. I'm just laying in wait, anticipating things to open up, like some of my other samples were. This one just seems a little flat. But oh, and I swapped out my water for something that tends to go a little better with Maduro cigars. I like you know, pairing different beers with different cigars. Maduros, I always like stouts, so I went with a Samuel Smith's Oatmeal Stout with this particular cigar, just because it's creamy, it's got very rich stout flavors, and I thought it would really help accent the cigar, and it's helping a little bit, but the flavors aren't quite meshing. I still think it's because the cigar just seems, I don't know, I don't want to say it's a little lacking at this point, but it kind of is. You know, I think that once it opens up, the beer and the cigar combination are going to go very well with one another. So I'm just going to wait a little bit longer, smoke a little bit more. I'll be back. We'll take a look at the final third of the cigar. I'll wrap things up and let you be on your way. So sit tight. All right. Well, it's about time to wrap up my El Titan de Bronze Redemption Maduro. And as you can see, the ash has cleaned up a little bit. It's not quite so flaky anymore. And the burn line itself has straightened out considerably. And it's relatively thin. Those thick spots seem to have gone away. The draw is still excellent. I'm getting tons and tons of smoke, but now the cigar's beginning to warm up. I'm starting to feel the heat across the palate. It's making the smoke mildly harsh, and it's becoming a little warm on the fingers. And it's probably, you know, due to the draw being so free. Smoke volume is excellent, very dense, easy to get through the sinuses. Body is still in the medium range. The smoke is getting nice and creamy, and you know, it's got a very nice texture to it. I'm not noticing anything in terms of nicotine kick. As far as like a flavor intensity goes, I think this is a medium flavored cigar. I'm still waiting for the you know, the flavors to come alive. The other samples I had were really robust in terms of flavor, and there was just a tremendous amount of it. In this case, everything seems really subdued, kind of watered down, and nothing's really popping. Now, you know, I realize that this could be different from what's going to be hitting the shelves or what already hit the shelves, because it's a pre-production sample for the trade show. So there's a chance that that the blend could be tweaked mildly, or it could be a little different, you know, on the retailer's shelves compared to what I got at the trade show. So maybe there's a little bit of a consistency problem there between, you know, trade show samples and what's available on the shelves. But in any case, 2 of the 3 samples were fantastic, and I really enjoyed them. But this one just seems a little lacking. It's just, I'm waiting for the flavor to pop, and it just hasn't come yet. Overall, I think it's a decent cigar. Again, you know, with a boutique manufacturer, you're looking at an extra couple of dollars more compared to something that's, you know, produced in large quantities. So $7 seems fair, at least from a boutique manufacturer's perspective. I feel like the other 2 samples that I had, I would be getting my money's worth for $7. If I had to pick one or the other, the original Sun-Grown Redemption or the Maduro, I think I like the original better. The flavors just seemed to pop a little more. It was a little crisper, more up my alley. While I have a tendency to lean towards Maduro cigars, I don't know whether the Mexican wrapper just isn't doing it for me, or what the case may be. But I'm finding that in this case I like the Sun-Grown better, and in the case of the Cuban Maduro, I like the original better than the Maduro. So So take it for what it's worth. In this case, decent cigar. Just really wish it would have came alive, and I think it would have been a far more superior cigar. So that about does it. So until next week, happy smoking.